Greetings YouTube, JC, Dad Edit Pro, with a video about audio. And today I have spent this afternoon sitting in the floor listening to records. Just like I did when I was 5 years old, and that's been many, many years ago. Thought it'd be kind of cool to show you some of the albums that I received in the mail today. Actually, this is the first batch that I've ordered. And these are the first records that I have actually paid money for since at least 20 years, since 1990. I think that was the last time I actually bought a record. So let's get into it. The first album is Dave Brubeck's Greatest Hits. And this particular album is from about 1967 or so. It is on the original Columbia Two Eyes label. The audio quality is fantastic. I've been very, very impressed with this particular album, and I've listened to all of the first side of it so far. Here we have Billy Joel's The Nylon Curtain from 1983, and as you can see, it's got 9 new songs, which is really cool, and this is an original pressing, and unfortunately this one's been well played. It's in pretty good shape, but it needed a good cleaning when I got it, and then even after I cleaned it, you can tell that this was definitely somebody's favorite record, but it sounds pretty good. Also, from about the same time period, this is Yes, 90125, and this was released about 1983. And this appears to be a rather early pressing of this. The audio quality is outstanding. As a matter of fact, after listening to this album today, I actually have to admit that the audio files might have something when they're saying that the old vinyl sounds better than CD, because I can definitely tell you that if you compare the CD version of this, which I got many years later, to the original vinyl. The vinyl definitely's got some more snap to it. Music from the television series Cosmos. Cosmos was a TV show that ran on the public broadcasting system in the early 80s here in the U.S. I don't know if it made it on TV around the world, so if you're watching this from somewhere else and you're going, what's that? Well, that's what it was. And it was hosted by the very famous physicist Carl Sagan. And the soundtrack for the show is mainly classical, although there's some interesting stuff in here from Vangelis. This is a very pleasant memory for me from the early 80s. I was so tickled to be able to actually find this. Beatles. The Beatles, 67 to 70. And this is an original Apple pressing of this. I was really shocked here in the States. Capitol Records issued this album on the Capitol label for many, many, many years. And when I bought it, I thought that's what I was buying because I didn't spend a whole lot of money on it. But then when I got it, I found out that it's an Apple release. It was a bit dirty and it needed a cleaning, but in generally good shape. The records were cleaned before I bought them. I don't want you to think that they came dirty, but I gave it a good scrubbing anyway, because it did have a bit of surface noise, and you could tell that this was somebody's favorite album. It was well played, but the audio is quite good. And finally, Donald Fagen, The Nightfly from 1982. This is an interesting album because, number one, it's one of my favorite albums of all time. All of these albums are things that I really, really like. And I wanted to buy albums that I knew I would actually listen to. You know, things that I was extremely familiar with. And this is probably, if not my favorite album of all time, it's in the top 3 at least. What's interesting about this is that this was recorded digitally with the old 3M 32-track Soundstream system. So was Billy Joel's Nylon Curtain, and so therefore this was actually digitally mastered and then cut to vinyl. The audio quality on this is absolutely stupendous. I plan on dubbing this over to a CD later tonight to put with my CD copy of Donald Fagen's The Night Fly. Here's a couple of other things that you might find interesting. I've actually had this for quite a while, and I did some work on it to get it to play well and sound good. This is an EP album. There are two 45s in here, and each 45 has 2 songs on it. So there are 8 songs in the collection, and as you can see, it's in really good shape. I'm not really sure what year this was issued. I can tell you for sure and certain that this was before the days of stereo, though. This may be before the RIAA Curve of 1953. It's on Capitol Records, Nat King Cole, and a nice little collection of some of his songs. The audio on that is actually quite good, and this got the sink treatment. In other words, I actually put it in the sink and put water on it and soap and water, and I did the same thing with the Beatles as well. Now, all of these records that are in this second batch here are ones that I've had down in the basement for the longest time. Here's a great record. This is George Carlin's FM and AM, and it's his first album. This is a 1972 pressing of this in mono, and it's signed by Mr. Carlin. And I only played this once, and when I did play it, I put it on CD. I've had this for several years and never played it. So I dubbed it directly to CD, and the audio quality was actually quite good off of this album. It's just George talking, you know, so you can't expect too much from it. And finally, the album that got me in so much trouble, Bruce Hornsby and the Range. This is Live, The Way It Is Tour, 1986-87. And this was sent out to radio stations only. Sorry about the reflection there. And it was never issued to the public at all. So as you see back here somewhere, it says, DJ copy not for sale, here on the back of the album. I can't read it on the screen, but it's in here somewhere. And super fidelity recording here. Absolutely wonderful. Too bad. You may be able to find this if you're interested by looking it up online, but I have to warn you that I've seen this album go for upwards of $200 sometimes because it's so extremely rare. All of these wonderful records, except for the Hornsby and the Carlin and the Nat King Cole, came from a record store called Euclid Records in St. Louis, Missouri. And yes, I'm giving them a shameless plug. It's Euclid, E-U-C-L-I-D, Records. You can look it up in a search engine. And they have a wonderful web page where you can find whatever you want, throw it in the shopping cart, and buy it. They make it too easy, to tell you the truth, way too easy. And it seems that their grading system that they use to tell you the condition of the record is very accurate. I was kind of waiting to see what I would get. And if there's anything that's not quite right, surface marks or whatever, they tell you before you get it. So very cool. So there's the first batch of records that I actually bought. Still to come, Steely Dan Asia, Men at Work, Business as Usual, and also I'm expecting to get a copy of Simon & Garfunkel's Greatest Hits on the original Columbia Two Eyes label. So that's going to be really cool to hear. So there you go. I thought you might like to see that. JC, That Edit Pro, and my first step as I make the journey back to analog after years and years of working with digital and CDs. Kind of interesting, huh? Never thought I'd buy one of these again. If you would have walked up to me about 1998 and said, "You think you'll buy a record again?" I'd said, no. I doubt it very seriously. But you live and learn, right? JC, That Edit Pro, waving bye-bye.